Welcome to The Explainer. If you're looking to literally optimize your daily workflow, you're definitely in the right place. Today, we're taking the core behavioral psychology from James Clear's incredible book, Atomic Habits, and repairing it up with cutting-edge modern tools. Stuff like habit tracking apps and even artificial intelligence. We're going to see exactly how we can scale our habits for absolute maximum impact. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Why do most people completely fail to change their habits? I mean, we've all been there, right? The standard answer is usually, well, I just lack motivation, or maybe I don't have enough discipline. We basically tell ourselves we just need to try harder next time. But what if I told you that motivation and discipline are actually the absolute most unreliable foundations for change? Seriously, what if the real missing ingredient this whole time is simply your environment?
So here's our roadmap for today. First up, we'll cover the foundational brain science with the power of tiny changes and the 4 laws of change. From there, we'll jump straight into the highly practical, tech-driven applications, tech for tracking habits, building AI habit stacks, and finally, microlearning at work.
All right, Section 1, the power of tiny changes, also known as the math of marginal gains.
The core idea here is the atom. Think about an actual atom for a second. It's incredibly small, practically invisible to the naked eye, right? But it is capable of explosive, compounding energy. Well, your habits work the exact same way, and the math completely backs this up. Look, getting just 1% better every single day, it probably won't even feel noticeable in the moment. It feels kind of pointless, honestly. But because of the magic of compounding, a 1% daily improvement mathematically results in you being 37 times better by the end of a single year. 37 times. No way, right? But it's true. Now, conversely, if you get 1% worse each day, you decline almost all the way down to 0. So the ultimate takeaway here, the direction of your habits matters way, way more than their immediate size. And this completely shifts how we need to think about habit building. First off, goals versus systems. Goals are just about the end results you want. Systems are about the actual daily processes that get you there. Then we have outcome-based versus identity-based habits. This is a huge paradigm shift. Saying, I want to run a 5K is outcome-based, and it's super fragile. Because once you finally run it, you usually just stop training. But saying, I am a runner, that's identity-based. It fundamentally shifts your self-concept. Every single time you lace up those running shoes, you are literally casting a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Which brings us to this incredibly powerful quote from James Clear himself. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. I absolutely love this because it totally takes the guilt out of failure. If you're struggling to change, it's not because you're weak, and it's not because you don't want it enough. It is simply because you have the wrong system for change. Bad habits repeat themselves simply because your environment is designed to repeat them. Moving right along to Section 2, the 4 laws of change, or the habit loop. Okay, so this is the habit loop. This is the fundamental neurological blueprint we're going to use for the rest of this explainer. Every single habit goes through these 4 specific steps. First, the cue. To build a habit, you need to make it obvious. Second, the craving. Make it attractive. Third, the response. Make it easy. And fourth, the reward. Make it satisfying. It's really that simple. And hey, if you want to break a bad habit, you just invert the whole shebang. Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. It is a practically perfect blueprint. All right, let's get into the tech. Section 3, tech for tracking habits, and the 1 tweak a week rule. Before we even start talking about specific apps, we absolutely have to establish the golden rule of tracking. And it's this: track way fewer habits than you think you should. Seriously, stick to 3 to 5 habits max. Downloading a gorgeous, beautifully designed app means absolutely nothing if you completely overwhelm yourself by programming 12 new habits on day 1. You'll just get app fatigue. We call this the 1 tweak a week rule. Pick one thing, focus on making it automatic, and only then do you add the next one. So, with that in mind, which app should you actually use? Well, comparing the top tools lets you perfectly match your personal style to the right software. If you're fully in the Apple ecosystem, an app called Streaks is phenomenal. It's just a one-time $6 fee, super simple, and it integrates directly with Apple Health. Now, if you're a beginner looking to follow James Clear's exact philosophy, his official app Atoms gently scales you up. What if you're motivated by gaming? Habitica literally turns your life into a role-playing quest, complete with AI-generated adaptations. And finally, if you're a total data nerd who just loves charts and long-term pattern analysis, Way of Life is definitely your best bet. The goal is to pick the friction-reducing tool that serves you best. Let's take it a step further. Section 4, Building AI Habit Stacks and Automating Your Execution. So how can we actually use the latest artificial intelligence to make that third law of behavior change, make it easy, practically effortless? Well, you can use ChatGPT to completely supercharge your habit formation in 3 distinct ways. First up, as a behavior change coach. By giving the AI a specific prompt, it can honestly act like a $5,000 a month executive coach, helping you reframe your mindset and figure out your own personal roadblocks. Second, you can use it as a daily planner, having it map out routines so your new habits fit perfectly into your crazy, chaotic schedule. And third, through API plugins, you can literally ask it to code a completely custom habit tracker specifically designed for your unique workflow. Pretty wild, right? But here's where a lot of people totally drop the ball when trying to adopt AI into their daily habits. They use what we call generic stacking. That's when you say something like, after I get coffee, I'll use AI. And that fails because, well, AI isn't really a standalone activity. Instead, you need friction stacking. Think about it more like this. When I stare at a blank document for 30 seconds, I'll ask AI to brainstorm. You see the difference? True AI adoption is all about upgrading your existing workflow at the exact moment you encounter friction. Don't go out and create arbitrary new tasks. Just automate the really hard parts of your current ones. And we can actually map James Clear's 4 laws perfectly to building this AI-first mindset. To make AI obvious, pin it to your browser tab so it's quite literally always visible. To make it attractive, start with quick 60-second wins, like having it draft a super difficult email so you get a fast hit of dopamine. To make it easy, follow the 2-minute rule. Basically, if it takes longer to explain what you want to the AI than it would to just do it yourself, you aren't ready for that use case yet. And finally, to make it satisfying, actively track the hours of time you were saving yourself each week. Okay, on to our final section. Section 5, Micro-learning at work. This is all about scaling these habits to the enterprise level. So how do you scale this across a whole company? The answer is microlearning. This means integrating learning directly into the natural flow of work through really small, consistent 3 to 5 minute doses of knowledge. Now, you might be wondering, why do this instead of those traditional all-day training seminars? Well, it's because of something called the forgetting curve. Without spaced repetition, the human brain literally forgets 70% of new information within 24 hours. 70%! Those exhausting one-day seminars just do not work, but tiny, atomic doses of daily learning absolutely do. And smart instructional design teams are actually realizing they can use James Clear's exact neurological framework to make corporate training stick. To make learning obvious, they use automated push notifications right from their learning management system. To make it attractive, they might use gamified content like customer objection simulators. To make it easy, the content has to be accessible on a mobile phone without any complex, frustrating logins to deal with. And to make it satisfying, they reward employees with digital badges and team leaderboards. But the big question, does it actually work? Absolutely. Take the retail brand Clairol, for example. By replacing their old, long-form training with an interactive micro-learning app designed entirely around atomic habits, they achieved a massive 84% engagement rate among their store employees. Think about that. Treating learning as an atomic, daily habit drives absolute exponential growth and engagement compared to traditional, friction-heavy training. So the absolutely crucial takeaway from all of this is that success isn't about motivation, it is entirely about systems. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative question to think about. What is the one tiny friction point in your workflow that you will automate with tech today? It is time to stop relying on willpower and start designing your optimal environment right now. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.